Hi everyone, welcome. The systems we're checking in on today are the African night crawlers that live in these two black tubs over here. These, up until not too long ago, were my youngest, newest systems, and at this point there are newer systems. They're 56 days old today, 8 weeks. Fed 5 times so far, and that last check-in 14 days ago was the second time we're coming in and finding leftovers of the cabbage that was fed 3 feedings ago. So I made an executive decision a couple days ago, and that's the reason that these bins kind of fell off the 12-day interval that most of my feedings are occurring in right now. Instead of them getting fed normally, I snuck in here off camera and extracted a bunch of material that was refusing to break down and become worm food. It just kept growing in there, a bunch of red cabbage. So the red cabbage came out 3 days ago, was placed in the freezer, and hopefully at this point it's something that's going to finally start to break down and become something that the worms can eat. So let's get these systems up on the bench and give them the cabbage again. I got a couple banana peels for them as well, so let's get to work. Oh boy. Seems like we've got enough moisture underneath this plastic to cause the top covering newspaper to stick to it. Seems like the newspaper has not really received a whole lot of wear, but in time it will, and the worms will just start nibbling away at that stuff. And we've got like a whole assortment of top coverings here, don't we? Newspaper, cardboard, even a coffee filter to come back on to be our feeding zone indicator. Let's get the second bin over here opened up too. I definitely see a good many springtails. Look at them all on this piece of paper. There's a lot of them on here. They're kind of slow movers. You would have to kind of stare at them for a little while before you can actually start to see their movement, but they're pretty lively. They're always buzzing around, zipping here and there. Once upon a time I would never see any of these, and now they're all over the place, almost everywhere. In great numbers, but in the end I think they're just helping out, so I shouldn't be too put off by their presence. I've grown used to them over the years at this point. I believe it's been since they started showing up in here. Not just here, not just in this system, you know, in pretty much all my systems. So my attempt at getting the cabbage out of here, cabbage out of here, I did spend a good amount of time, so I wasn't really in a hurry. So I kind of took my time and went through here and pretty sure I got the majority of it. I mean, right down to little tiny pieces, so I assume we'll probably still bump into 1 or 2 pieces here and there, but I do feel like I got the great majority of it. And I think we did bump into some of the banana leftovers, banana peel leftovers. Yeah, here's some of it that I attempted to put back into the center. So as you can see, this wasn't just a banana peel, it was a banana that actually had some of the yummy food still inside of it. So I'm a little bit surprised that it's still here 2 feedings later, but whatever. Maybe they just don't like the bananas that I managed to find at the store. Well, I buy them at Costco and they're pretty tasty. Well, whether or not they're in the mood for banana, they're getting more of it today. So here's those banana peels that I figured I'd bring down just so I'm giving them something new. And then all the cabbage that I pulled out. Pretty much filled up this carton here. Overfilled it. So this is just going to be their partially new feeding and partially just me returning the stuff I pulled out 3 days ago to hopefully get it into a breakdown process to hopefully stop it from trying to grow. So this was also a little experiment. Just threw one of these handles from shopping bag in here. I think each system had 2 handles like that. Well, whatever. It's not all that interesting. Various bits of cardboard and this and that. So yeah, at 8 weeks old, not even quite 2 months old, these systems seem to be coming along pretty nicely. So I don't know, am I jumping ahead here? I shouldn't already be replenishing the feeding zone if I haven't even peeked into the other system, right? Let's put this on pause and see how things are in bin number 2. Here too, I assume we'll find some leftovers of banana, which both systems got. Both systems got bananas that still had the yummy insides. And here, a bit more of a, kind of a turnout that you would expect, right? A little bit of interest being shown here in bin number 2 at least. Alright, and I already see signs of the one of the handles in bin number 2. And if we bump into other odds and ends, then maybe those things will also have their own little individual stories, but I don't think there's a whole lot more to do here other than drop in today's feeding, which is really just another try at getting the previous feeding actually functional. Oops, okay, sorry, I keep stepping away because I keep returning this supply of prepared bedding to my shelf because I've got a whole bunch of stuff here on the bench next to me, so I don't have space to put it where I normally would. I got a bunch of cantaloupe seeds from my mom that I've got laid out there drying, as well as eggshells that she provided that are also laid out to dry before they get put away for some future pulverization. What else do I got over there? Oh, I got the peppers, the seeds out of a jalapeno pepper that I just had for lunch, along with a ham sandwich. So this stuff's been in my freezer for 3 days. I can't explain why. Previously, this stuff just would refuse to start breaking down. It would just insist on like having all these brand new little leaves growing. All these are brand new little shoots that grew right here within the bin. And as festive as it was, watching life come back to life almost, after you would think that, what's the chance of something you've already pretty much committed to worm food be still attempting to grow, but it's, believe it or not, it's not as uncommon as you would think. And I guess the main culprit, if you want to think of it that way, is, in my mind, potato just seems to be very resilient. But there's other things too, plenty of other things that do the same thing. And before we get too far along, I've got other bedding types that I'd like to include down here. I've got a few soiled paper towels that we're going to include here. These were just 2 pieces, but each of the pieces started to sort of delaminate. So these were the 2 plies separated on 2 individual pieces. So it's really just 1 piece going in each case here. And that's pretty much their feeding. Here we're just going to sprinkle in a little bit of pulverized eggshell that they could use as grit. And there's not much left to do other than get things covered up. And here's the other handle, rope handle, or whatever type of material that is. Yeah, these little guys get back to work and continue working down this stuff. These are the African night crawlers, and since it is pretty cool this time of year, especially down here in my basement where my wormery is, the African night crawlers, being a tropical species of worm, do slow down a little bit if the temperature is not to their absolute liking. In fact, if you get too close to 50, you could potentially even kill off your poor African night crawlers. So sometimes I do wonder, since at the present time these bins are resting right beneath a fairly drafty basement window here, sometimes I do wonder if I'm keeping them in a suboptimal place. They'd rather be in a subtropical place, and they're in a place where it's practically sub-zero. Alright, look at all those white little dots everywhere, springtails, even on the plastic top covering. So that's it for our check-in now with the African night crawlers. Things look really nice in these systems. Perhaps going at a little bit slower pace than they normally would if the temperatures were higher. I think in future check-ins I'll probably come down here prepared with pretty small size feedings, with the assumption that if they're hungry they can even turn to their bedding, and we don't want to just have food in there that they're unable to eat because their metabolisms have slowed down to the it's kind of like goldfish. I remember having goldfish in my pond outside once a couple seasons, and there too, you don't feed them, otherwise that food goes in their bellies, their digestion pretty much stops, and then they die from the food rotting in their gut. So I wouldn't want to have food rotting in my systems and tainting the environment that these poor little wormies live in, because it is pretty cozy, but it could get pretty nasty if you're not careful. So that's it for the check-in, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, please don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel. That's very much appreciated as well. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye now.